No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Back with Jim.
Jim Siegel again from the Celebration Independent newspaper. For Gwen, what aspect, what is the most difficult aspect of this mission from SpaceX's point of view?
Launch is always a worry moment, so there's no question that launch is tough. And then I think as far as the level of difficulty, it would be when you're approaching space station on the R-bar, and because you're basically in close proximity to the International Space Station. It's a crewed $100 billion orbiting body, so you want to be really careful as you do that. So it takes it's tough on the operators.
It has crew on it too.
Yes, it has crew, right.
Thank you. Todd.
Todd Halverson, Florida Today for Gwen. With the manifest you just laid out, it sounds like you're really going to have to pick up the pace in terms of production as well as launch operations. And I wonder whether you feel as if these first 4 flights of the Falcon 9 has prepared you to do that. And just as a follow, I was wondering if you could update me or refresh my memory on your eligibility to bid on EELV or other DoD missions. Thanks.
As far as production goes, we've known this moment was going to come for quite some time, so we've been preparing for production for many years. We're actually just completing a remodel of the factory to ensure that we can build these cores to meet our manifest and our customer requirements. So, frankly, I think the harder thing is getting 1 million pounds off the deck rather than building a bunch of these each year. I'm not going to trivialize that, but that's a royal problem to have. And you ask about EELV, I'd rather focus on this particular mission here today. On the other hand, we obviously are going hard after being able to compete for EELV missions.
Tarek?
Thank you. Tarek Malik with Space.com. I think for both Gwen and Sam, you mentioned some of the big steps coming up in an hour for Dragon, and I'm wondering about the cruise tomorrow, what you're going to be watching then in the spacecraft systems, or how the transition from launch to cruise to the station is going to go on the ground ops team. Thanks.
Let me take that?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, so the GNC bay door is supposed to open and latch at 2 hours and 43 minutes into the mission. So 8:30. So actually, about an hour from right now, we'll be watching the relative nav, all the navigation sensors, over the next day or so. We will initiate our first co-elliptic burn about 21 hours into the mission, and then we'll be approaching station at about 48 hours. We'll be approaching station, not berthing in that time frame. And so what will be key to look out for is when we initiate the Cuckoo, the COTS UHF communications unit. That's the UHF comms that we have with the International Space Station. And then it's all LIDARs and thermal imagers.
Yeah, a question for Sam. Earlier you asked a little bit about NASA leadership, and you kind of answered it in the context of cooperation with the ISS. As the ISS program manager now, the U.S. will not be alone soon with soon Chinese and the Indians are trying to catch up in space. The Chinese are working towards building a space station. In the context of this launch, how does this cooperation with SpaceX and your other commercial partners help the U.S. and NASA maintain that leadership role, given the burgeoning international competition in space?
It not only broadens the capabilities here domestically, but also to operate and do business in space, if you will. It also broadens the industry base on the ground, the employment in the various locations across the country, and in that way it strengthens not only the base of the industry, but also the capabilities that we're deploying in space. It also provide the basis for companies like SpaceX to do other things other than just go to space station eventually. So we're looking forward to that as well. So it's not just the government itself providing leadership, it is industry itself providing leadership as well, which is more than China or India or other countries are doing today.
Yes, this is James Tutton with Valencia Voice. I have a question for Ms. Shotwell. Are there any plans for the future in Florida and with SpaceX, like future employment or expansion employment or anything like that?
Oh, there's no question we're going to continue to increase our employment here in Florida. I'm pretty sure we're going to overwhelm this range with launches of Falcon 9s and Falcon 9s and Dragons from here. I do very much look forward to bringing SES and TICOM here next year. Those vehicles or those launches would have otherwise gone either to the Russians, the Europeans, or the Chinese. So I'm really happy to be bringing those missions here to Florida.
Mark Ratterman with Talking Space. Question for you, Gwen. I appreciate the truth about the fact that this is not easy, that it is a difficult operation to do. Do you think anyone will catch you?
Catch me?
Catch SpaceX and the business that you're doing so well in?
That's an unfair question. Let's put it this way. SpaceX strives to be ahead of everybody. How's that? All our competitors.
Thank you.
Okay, around in the front row, Jim.
Jim Siegel, Celebration Independent News. A question for Sam, I believe. Are there certain types of payloads that are better suited than others for SpaceX, for Dragon, and so on, compared to, say, what the Russians are taking up to the space station?
Actually, the SpaceX Dragon and trunk capabilities are greater than what we can do, to say, on Progress for dry goods, for instance. Progress does have the capability to provide propellant on the Russian segment. So, in some ways, it is more capable, but different capabilities than others.
All right. Seeing no further questions, I'll put you on the spot and see if either of you has any closing comments, and if not, we'll wrap it up.
I'd like to take the opportunity once again to thank NASA. SpaceX would not be where we are today without the help and support and leadership that they've provided us over since August of 2006. So I'd like to thank them again. Thanks very much. Also, the additional mission partners that we had here, the U.S. Air Force. Mike did clear the weather for us, which was fabulous. The FAA, and actually I'm going to give some kudos to FCC as well.
And I'd like to just congratulate SpaceX on going from where we were in 2006, which is quite a while ago now, it seems, to where we are today. I think the relationship has matured very nicely over the years, and today's launch and successful mission here will be proof of that. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. When we close, we're going to replay the launch, the great launch of the SpaceX Falcon 9 and Dragon on NASA television. And in the coming days, on Wednesday, October 10th, we'll begin coverage of Grapple at 3 a.m. Central Time, 4 a.m. Eastern Time. The actual Grapple should occur at 6:22 Central, 7:22 a.m. Eastern. And then we'll also carry coverage of berthing that will begin at 9:15 Eastern, 8:15 Central. And the actual berth will take place at 8:40 Central, 9:40 Eastern. Once again, thank you for coming. You can keep track of the mission at our website, which is www.nasa.gov/station. Have a good evening.
10, 9, 8, 7.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff. Liftoff of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, launching Dragon to the International Space Station and returning cargo resupply missions to U.S. soil.